Time, full disclosure, my teammates were telling me I need to be a little more exciting, so I actually was trying to hit a jumping triangle, and you can tell I actually just ended up jumping into guard. The first thing I wanted to say before we get started is just a quick thank you to Katie. She took the match on less than a day's notice and drove 4 hours to compete against me. All right, let's get started. So they introduced us as the first female match of the night, but actually we're the only female match of the night. There was a late pullout, unfortunately, which left just one group of girls, so hopefully we'll get more in the future. They show Katie, then they show me. I always flex before the match just to kind of like give myself a quick sense of confidence. I'm somebody that needs to like move back and forth continuously. From the slap bump, my initial plan, I was considering wrestling, but then I ended up pulling guard, which is really no surprise. So I had an inside collar tie here, right to guard, single leg X. I was actually looking right away to get into a Z-lock, which I had just been drilling prior. So my left leg gets threaded over and it's looking to collapse like together with my right leg. I'm controlling her first leg with my left hand and then her secondary leg with my right hand, but she's actually doing a really good job of like breaking down my posture. So I was having a hard time getting the Z-lock underway. I did finally get my left leg crossed under my right, and then I like prayer stomped, so I had prayer feet, took my right hand and grabbed her shin, but I just could not get the actual Z-lock with that left hand. So you can kind of see me like playing with it to see if I could get just her foot to go back or underneath her calf, but no luck. So after I wasn't able to get it, I decided to switch over to the heel hook, which I think we're going to see in a minute here. I think in the commentating, they mentioned that they thought my left arm was in danger at one point for an arm bar, but I didn't really feel like it was in any danger. I did try to attack an Aoki lock briefly, but I didn't really have the best control. You can see her left foot isn't really slipping the way I wanted it to. It was more like a straight foot lock grip. So it was kind of just to like bait and see if I can get to something else. She ends up bringing her right leg across, and I'm like, all right, this will be a good time to go for a heel hook. So she's again like holding my posture down. I was having a hard time breaking it, but once I got there, I was looking to put her toes right underneath my armpit so that I could get good heel exposure, and I was having a very hard time. The other thing is I came in with a very specific game plan that if I didn't get a leg lock in the first like minute or two, I was going to try to switch to something else. So I kept playing with the heel, no dice, and that's when I think I ultimately decided like I think I'm going to get ready to come up in my mind here, which I'm happy about. I had planned to initially try to finish the match on top. So after like attacking multiple submissions with the Z-lock, kind of the Aoki lock, a little bit of the heel hook, realizing that the hand fighting was doing pretty well, my offense just wasn't good. I need to work on my mechanics. I decided to come up and turn in towards her into like a nice knee cut position. She does a really good job of framing here and getting a knee shield in with her right knee, and I'm ended up staying a little too high, so I had a hard time starting to pass initially. I think at this point we might have been like 3 minutes into the match, so I was self-aware that I wanted to make sure I did get a finish in the beginning. I ended up grabbing a right arm guillotine, which I felt like could potentially be tight from half guard. It's one of my favorite places to finish, but I didn't want to be the same as I always was, so she ended up coming over the top and taking a quick sweep, and then I came right back and swept her right back. She enters into single leg X. I look to escape. That's by peeling off her left leg with my hand. And then I was actually planning to backstep with my left leg and plant my like head to the mat, but I felt like the pass was coming a little bit quicker. So instead I took my left leg, came across for the pass, and then ended up in mount, which obviously worked out a little bit better. From here, I really wanted to stay dominant on the top. I was looking to finish either a mounted triangle or a back triangle for this specific match. So I do think I start to consider setting up both. In this first option, I was hoping to go all the way up into S mount and then try to grab my leg over for that mounted triangle, but I didn't have a good enough angle. She does a really good job of getting onto her side, which ultimately has me lose the position, and she comes up on top as she's locked into my triangle. You can tell the angle is off to finish the triangle. Plus, I was really paranoid that she was going to be backing me up into the fence. I'd been doing a lot of cage rounds at that point, so I knew like this could be bad for me. So I pushed myself away, and then I get a pretty good angle for the triangle here, but I did hear them say there was less than a minute left. So I felt like it was going to take some time to actually get the triangle finished, even though I have her leg clamped with my right arm. So ultimately, once I felt like it was pretty tight, I'm going to throw my left leg over and switch to that arm bar for a quick tap there. And that would end round 1 with the submission. Probably less than 30 seconds left, man. She was really tough. So I loved that. So round 2, we slap bump again. This time, full disclosure, my teammates were telling me I need to be a little more exciting. So I actually was trying to hit a jumping triangle, and you can tell I actually just ended up jumping into guard. But it was higher than my regular guard jump, so she ended up going over, and I ended up taking mount. She did a good job of posting her hand. I took the post off, and then we landed. From here, I'm a big Wagner Hocha fan, so I wanted to utilize the smother in the second round, especially after seeing some other competitors do it. So I wanted to smother her from the top, and she actually took it to a good technical point where she did it from the bottom, which ended up baiting the armbar. So you guys see we get to the armbar now. She decides, I think she notices she's in some trouble with the armbar, so she opts to roll over into turtle, where I get to take her back. And then this is back to where I really, really wanted to finish for a backside triangle. But again, my angle's off. We're just a little too close to the cage there. So initially, I get fairly close. Right now, I'm like prying her legs, but my right leg needs to come all the way over to the right side. And I just couldn't get it there. I didn't want to finish the same way I did in the beginning, which I felt like I would do. So ultimately, I abandon it, and I decide to go back to back position and keep like a really good base there. You can see I actually have like a little bit of a sit out so that we could get away from the cage, even though I'd like been practicing these cage rounds. From here, I was looking to go underneath, like kind of like peeling her neck to keep going back and forth and then using the smother. But she was unfazed. The girl she's a gamer. So she really, even with the body triangle and the smothering, I felt like I wasn't going to be strong enough to get underneath the neck. And again, I think we were working with about 2 minutes left. So a little bit longer time here. Body triangle is one of my favorite positions. So once I tried for that, I tried to actually reset up the back triangle, but it wasn't working. And I was able to get a 2-on-1 Kimura grip on her weak side, which ultimately led me to throw my legs over for a weak side armbar. I did try to take my time here and control her a little bit. In the video, you can't tell, but I actually stop, come up, and try to smother her one more time. And then from there, I use like a basic offensive move to try to free that arm, which is first controlling the far side elbow. And then once I feel like I have pretty good control, I use my right leg on her bicep to push away. Which ultimately ends up freeing the position, getting the arm, and then just taking my time, making it nice and long, and that's where I get the submission. So super exciting. I thought it was a really great match. Like I said, shout out to Katie for driving 4 hours there, competing, and then actually turning right around and going 4 hours home. I super appreciate it. That was beyond what I could have expected. And then last but not least, shout out to my sponsors, Hyperfly, and my gym, Droogs MMA, and Paramount BJJ.